the first one, because of course I cannot ask you to write on a sheet what are the strategies for beach protection, because it's too long. I may ask you to write on a sheet something that involves, like derivation of the Laplace equation. This can be something that I ask you to write on a sheet and then you explain. If this is the case, meaning that your first question is not descriptive, it follows that the second question will be the descriptive one. So when I say that the first question is descriptive, it's not actually the first. It's one of the two. Okay? I ask you two questions plus maybe a third one very short. Is this clear? That your first question will be written down, and then I ask you to explain to me, and then the second question may be more descriptive if the first one was very analytical. Okay? But anyway, this is a question that I may ask you to tell me, not written down, but what are the strategies? And let me see if I see something else interesting. No, I think...
How about the nourishment design? That's Dr. Gabriel.
Yeah.
Did you ask about that?
No, usually I don't ask about that. No, not usually. Let's forget about it, because I only ask what I thought, because I think it is fair for you. But this doesn't mean that you don't have to study what Gabriele suggested, because as I said, you don't have to study for passing the exam. You have to study for learning. If you study for learning, then you will get an excellent score in the exam. If you study for passing the exam, this is not granted for sure. And this is my frank suggestion to you. Try to study for learning. I tell you what are the questions, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to study the other things, because I can realize it. I can realize if you completely forgot part of the program. Okay, and this is probably one of the key lectures from an analytic point of view, beach hydrodynamics and morphodynamics. So besides definitions, like what is a berm, what is a bar, what is a dune, whatever. What are the time scales, characteristics, what is a beach, and besides the definitions, what is shoaling, then we start talking about morphology, along-shore sediment transport, cross-shore. So what kind of sediment transports do you know? And you have to clearly define. If you cannot define what are along-shore sediment transport and cross-shore sediment transport, of course you get in trouble. And formulas for estimating along-shore sediment transport. The CERC formula, this is a typical question. Half of you will get this question, okay? Not half, but just keep in mind. It's not easy, but there are few things that are not easy that I ask you to get prepared on. This is one, okay? And it's not easy, but it's not also complicated. And, you know, the one-line model, yes, typical question. Can you please tell me how the one-line model works? Cross-shore sediment transport, we only studied it in a qualitative way. But I may ask you, what is the reaction? Can you please draw on the sheet, what is the reaction of a beach to a sea level rise? This is not the case, it's this. Okay, and sometimes you find empirical formulas. Usually I don't ask you anything about that. I don't remember them by memory myself, and I don't think it is useful that you learn by memory empirical formulas. It's just enough that you tell me there is an empirical formula to do that. Okay? Okay, I think that's it. Sea wave monitoring, yes, this is a descriptive question. How sea waves are monitored. Try not to forget anything, okay? You just have to remember I don't think you need to remember the description, because the description is very easy. You just have to remember how many of them and what they are. Okay? And then I think that's it. Saltwater intrusion, yes, this is another technical question. I think it is easy. But what I ask you is to explain this. How is the interface, the position of the interface between freshwater and saltwater determined in static conditions? And you have to apply the known equation here. It's explained here. Okay, this is typical question. Okay, and then I may ask you a descriptive question. What are the factors, the drivers of saltwater intrusion? It's empirical. Okay, monitoring, no, I don't ask it. Design of groins, what can I ask it here? The lambda 1/3 rule. The lambda rule or the 1/3 rule. It's here. This is another typical question, analytical. Not difficult. If you look at it, it's not difficult, but please try to understand what's about. And one-line model, we already spoke about it. Stability of rock and concrete armor units. Sometimes I ask you to prove the Sheets criteria, the demonstration that is provided here. And it's a question that I don't personally like, but I sometimes ask it. And empirical formulations, not at all. Okay, effect of slope and use empirical formula, effect of widening, not at all. Okay? But be prepared on this, meaning that it's a typical question. How do you determine the stability of rock and armor units? And sometimes the students talk about empirical formulas, and then they talk about Sheets formula. It happened in the past that some students told me, I know that there is a Sheets criteria, but I cannot say anything more about it. It's not a big problem. Of course, if you refuse to give this proof, it means that your mark is decreased by a couple of marks. I mean, you don't get 30 if I ask you about the Sheets criteria, and it happened that the student said, I don't remember the demonstration, and I said, okay, that's fine, 27, I mean, 28. This is just to give you an example. And nature-based solution, there is not much to ask about that. I may ask you just to describe them to me. There is no analytical treatment, and climate change, no analytical treatment. I might ask you the order of magnitude, just, or to say something about it. And of course you have to read it to be prepared, but not to, there is nothing to learn by memory or nothing to learn in detail. So the details here may be related to mechanics of sea waves, hydrodynamics and morphodynamics, saltwater intrusion, design of groins, stability. These are the lectures where you need to focus on some details, meaning formulas, relationships. Now, a suggestion. I wanted to prepare, but I didn't have time and I apologize. I wanted to prepare a self-assessment test. I don't think I have time to do it during the week, during this week. If I can do it, if I am successful in doing it, then I'll send you an email through IOL. What is the purpose of a self-assessment test? It's not to predict your mark. It's just because it's just an attempt to prove how much you are reading. So my suggestion to students when I prepare this test is, if you want to get the maximum mark, because I know that most of the students today, they aim to get the max mark. This is something new for me. In the past, up to 5 years ago, I didn't noticed this attempt systematically. There were a few students that were not happy if they got 28. But today, I see that the number of students that really want to get the max is high. So to get the max is not easy, because you don't have to make any mistake. And also you have to present well. So the purpose of the self-assessment test is just to say, look, if you were unsuccessful in getting the max in the self-assessment test, be careful, because you are unlikely to get the max at the exam. It doesn't mean that the opposite reasoning is not true, like the self-assessment test usually is a low pass threshold, meaning that if you don't pass it, it means that you are low. But if you pass it, it doesn't mean that you are high, okay? So, if I succeed in preparing it, I will let you know. I highly suggest you to try it, because it is a measure of your preparedness with a low pass threshold again. If it is not available, just keep in mind that if you want to get the max in an exam, please be careful to self-assess your preparation. Try to discuss with your colleagues. Try to ask your colleagues to ask you questions. And because really it has to be a very careful preparation. If you are in doubt, sometimes it's more productive to wait a couple of weeks, because from May 23rd to June, I don't remember when we fixed the first exam, I think 12? Okay, 12. It's just 20 days. It's more productive, I tell you, if you are in doubt, that you prepare for June 12 instead of rushing for May 23rd in an inefficient way, because when you rush and you don't succeed in getting prepared, you are not efficient. And then stepping back and start again. So instead of rushing, failing, and start again, it's more productive to prepare for June 12. I don't want to discourage you. I just want to say that if you really want 30, and I know that some of you also want the Laude, over 12, 15 people, 2-3 will get the Laude. So if you really want the max, just be careful in self-assessing your preparation. You have a question?
22 or 23?
I think it's 22, it's 1 week from now. Now, I have a final problem. The guy that was supposed to take the survey didn't come, so I'm very disappointed by this, and I want to find a solution.